I'm Tiffany Stuart. I'm a Texas Realtor.
Dina with Reliant Title, Escrow Officer.
Okay, and so today, the first thing I wanted to talk about was when I bought my house, I was not a realtor. My very first house I ever bought, I didn't really know much about real estate. I was not a realtor. And there's so many things now that I wish I would have known or done differently. And I'm like, why didn't nobody tell me this or do this or that or whatever? So some of the simple things were like, well, one, I didn't have a clue about what was going on with the title or the mortgage or any of that. And I'm not the person that wants to read the 40-page document. So I just sort of trusted the people I worked with. At the time, my brother-in-law was a lender, so he did my loan. And I was just like, okay, you're saying sign, I'm signing. Now the documents are way better. And Dina can touch on that a little bit, and the lenders later will have videos with them too, but the way that the documents are at closing are way better now for a home buyer because you actually get to see, it's simplified basically, and it's just way easier to understand. And then other stuff would be, I wish I did a new construction home, and so I bought through the sales people, but I did have a realtor, and I wish my realtor would have told me to get an inspection even though it was new construction, because there were so many things wrong with my house. Because I was a first-time buyer, I was in a very low price point, so it was like, the cheapest house that you could buy, kind of.
Yeah.
And so when we moved in, it looked great, but then later we found out a whole lot of things. Like we moved in and ran the water upstairs in the bathroom vanity, and the water just gushed out everywhere and made a huge mess. And so we had to have the plumber come and hook the plumbing up because it wasn't hooked up. They literally did not connect the pipes to have the water go in the drain. And then another scenario was I came home from the hospital with a newborn in October, and it was freezing and we had no heat. They forgot to put the heat, there's like a coil or something in the heater or furnace, or I don't know.
So for your protection, get a home inspection.
Even as a realtor 12 years later, I don't know all these little construction things. But yeah, my inspector would have found that because that was miserable. I had a newborn and it was freezing in our house. So luckily we had family that brought over space heaters and things for us to warm our house until they could come and fix it. That was not cool. And so there were all kind of things. And then even since then, helping clients, like my inspectors have found missing insulation in the walls. They use these really cool infrared guns. And so they found a huge patch in the wall where the new construction people forgot to just put insulation there. And the drywall people just put the drywall up. Yeah, no insulation, not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
What else? They also found on the bottom row of your roof, it's supposed to be like a laminated shingle, which I guess is like a double-sided type thing. So that very first row is different than all the rest of your shingles. They left that off completely on a new house. So there's all kinds of random things that my guys have found, like wiring that didn't get hooked up for the AC. And sometimes it's like just a few minor things, but other times it could really be a big deal, like bringing your infant home and having no heat. Or having to clean up a huge mess when you turn the water on and it's like pouring out everywhere. So those are just some of the things from my first time. I can also tell you, even selling my first time was very emotional. I thought, I just got my license. I can try to represent myself like a for sale by owner to save money because I didn't have a lot of equity. And it was very emotional. I cried probably while I was on the phone with the buyer because he happened to be a realtor too, but he was experienced and I was not. And he was not buying it to live in. He was buying it for his kids to live in while they were at college. And so for him, there was not any emotion really because he wasn't attached to it. But for me, it was my first house. I was in love with this home. I had loved it. And so I tried selling it myself, and I was crying on the phone. Like, I paid more for it than what you're offering. So I do highly recommend using a realtor. Even though I am a realtor, I would say make sure you find a good one because they're not all equal. Kind of like in any industry, you have good dentists and bad dentists and good attorneys and bad attorneys. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in. There's good realtors and bad realtors. But yeah, it was emotional for me trying to go through the first time buyer and the first time seller process. The buying was a lot of fun, but just not having those few little guidance steps of knowing, like, I didn't shop lenders because my brother-in-law was a lender, so I just trusted him to do my loan right. And then later I found out certain things, like we ended up in a variable rate where our payment kept going up, and that was horrible. And so I wish I would have known a lot about that and somebody would have educated me more. So your realtor can tell you, like, shop around for lenders and go get a home inspection, a good one. I had a realtor, but she was also probably kind of new and very young and hadn't been around a while. So that was my experience. What about you?
My experience,
And that's way more than 2 minutes.
okay.
My video's done.
Yeah, no. My experience was my husband and I bought our first house when we were 21. And we bought it from his stepfather, who was on-site sales for Milburn. And so my mother-in-law was the mortgage officer. So we had a lot of help and support. You know, title side I didn't know because that was completely new. I wasn't in title business then, but had always had the background and support to invest and buy in real estate.
Okay.
And she had also been a realtor, so always been around it. So then
Wow.
in '99, I started in title.
Okay.
I've been in title ever since.
Cool.
And
All right.
lots to learn and lots to know about title insurance.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to talk about next, so make sure you watch the next video. Tiffany Stuart, Dina Luther, we'd love to help you with your next transaction.